Welcome, good morning, good evening, wherever you podcast. Thanks for joining us. Ev, it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's an exciting day. What a great weekend of sports we had. I'm really excited to dive into the college football game we haven't discussed, as well as get into that NFL. One of the best wildcard weekends we've had in years, if not the best ever, in my opinion. So, really excited to dive into that. As you will notice, Charlie is unfortunately going to be missing this week, but he will be back next week to join us. So, but excited to dive into talk some football with you.
Yeah, and you know, I think you're spot on there. I can't remember a playoff weekend, super wild card weekend, even going back to the regular wild card weekend of the 6 team, I guess the 12 team playoff, but six on each side, from what was it, 4 o'clock on Saturday until yesterday. I mean, the last two games not the best. I kind of boiled it down this way: the first four games were the exact same, really close, really competitive. I think in three of them, at least in two of them, the team that was trailing with 2 minutes left ended up winning. All the same game. And then you fast forward to the Pats-Chargers game and the Steelers-Texans game, and those were the exact same game. Really good defense. One quarterback being abused for 60 minutes. I think y'all sacked Justin Herbert 6 times. When I stopped watching, they had sacked Aaron Rodgers 4 times, I believe. And even beyond that, the Chargers defense was able to turn over the Patriots a couple times to give their team a chance. The Steelers defense, the Steelers defense was able to turn over the Texans a couple times to give them a chance. Obviously, neither into fruition, but then both games, 1 point games in a lot of cases until the very end. Just an unbelievable weekend, and then obviously you pepper in 2 college football playoffs. We talked about it last show. Sometimes people you hate do good things, and you have to give them credit for it. So to the schedule makers, we appreciate you, because what a weekend.
Yeah. And now that you mentioned it, I love your comparison to how the first 4 games were essentially the same thing as the next 2 games. I, being a Patriots fan, was not able to connect the dots from my game to this,
Fair.
Steelers-Texans game last night, just because I was on the edge of my seat, and even though it was a defensive show, those games are almost the most stressful as a fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
When it's a defense is playing well, what if their offense gets clicking and ours never does? Luckily, just based off the way the game went, I did feel like the Patriots were definitely going to get it, where they were moving the ball and they were just turnovers were stopping them from scoring.
Yeah.
As opposed to the Chargers, who were just being stopped, which is, good as it is. It was a good game to watch as a Patriots fan. Definitely a lot of positives, some things that you want to see improved on. But definitely get what you're saying. Because, I watched that Texans-Steelers game last night, and I was like, this game just sucks. Even when it was close, it was just, this game's not really fun to watch. It was really sloppy, I felt like, too, in the first half.
And we'll get to it. We got to touch on some stuff here first. But yeah, the Stroud thing, that was very, very interesting. I think we do have to jump in to start the show before we touch on the games, because there's a lot to talk about there. The biggest news of the day, I think you could say pretty confidently, is Mike Tomlin stepping down. Was he fired? I tend to believe he wasn't. I tend to believe he was going to be, and he knew it. Kind of similar. The shout out back to the tailgate tailgate days, when I was going to be removed as the tailgate chair because I was not good at my job, and I asked if I could just step down and save some face. It's kind of the same thing. But the Steelers' job is open for only the second time in our life.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. And just to give everyone a little backstory, it wasn't that Boone was bad at his job. He was great. He was bad at his job during tailgate. He was great up till tailgate. Once tailgate started, though,
once the first Y bomb happened and the lot was set up, I was useless.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if the lot was set up by the time you were useless. But anyways, I may have contributed to that happening, but that's, neither here nor there. But yeah, no, that's crazy. You think about a lot of these, it's the end of an era. I think you're seeing a lot of that. It's getting kind of this new wave of coaches getting the tenure in the NFL. Belichick leaving a couple years ago. Harbaugh gone now. Tomlin gone now. It's the new age of coaches coming in now. And here's the thing. I don't really think we're going to have as long of runs
No,
as we've had
not.
historically. I think it's going to be coaches leaving for new opportunity, just wanting to step away from the game for whatever reason it is at a younger age, and just exploring new opportunities. So I think it's really, truly the end of an era, and something I'm glad we got to experience a little bit, but that I don't think we're going to see again for at least some time. I mean, maybe there'll be an exception, but I just don't see it happening.
It's an interesting thought because when we were growing up, and I'm a little bit older than you, when we were growing up, you saw head coaches were 45 or older at the youngest. And then Tomlin kind of broke that trend when he came in. I think he was in his mid-30s. But for the most part, coaches came in, you're looking at 3 to 6-ish years for the average. Coaches come in, they retire. I think we could see a trend now where we have all these younger guys coming in. The stints are probably going to be shorter, to your point. We've already seen people get fired after 1 year. I also think we could see some McVay-esque things. Obviously, McVay never did this, but have your success early and then get into the media game. I know that was rumored with McVay a couple years ago. Honestly, if I'm a coach, I have my success, I get a Super Bowl or two, and a network comes calling for me to do analysis 16, 17, 18 times a year, get paid a lot more, do a lot less work. I could see coaches going that route. But just to give Mike Tomlin his flowers, 19 seasons, 13 playoff appearances, 8 division titles. The craziest part, and people have talked about this ad nauseum, I'm not breaking any news here, 19 seasons, no losing records. I don't think we'll ever see that ever again.
No, it's incredibly impressive, especially, I mean, I'm not going to say given the situation he stepped into, he did step into a decent situation, but with that being said, I don't think there's a lot of coaches who are going to be put into good situations anymore. They're going to start having to build up fresh, and in this NFL, this day and age, I think it's a lot harder to take a 0 team to a positive than it used to be 5-10 years ago.
It's
so I definitely see it. The rebuild's going to take a little bit longer for certain teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very tough for a coach to step in with a organization that has a losing record and build them up. And also on the flip side, I think a lot of coaches are wanting to step in and kind of prove themselves and build their own dynamic of a team and kind of restart, kind of get a reset on who the team is going to be. Like, that's what I anticipate is going to happen with this Steelers team. It's, Aaron Rodgers if I'm a coach going into the Steelers, I don't want Aaron Rodgers there.
No.
I want to kind of build out my own team and kind of start my foundation on how I want to see it, so it can be my team, and you're not dealing with the remnants of a above average team that really had no destiny to make it any further than they did. Maybe one more win, but
if I'm a Steelers fan today, I say this kind of joking, but I'm not completely joking. I'm hiring Gerard Mayo. I'm hoping he does his Gerard Mayo thing, and then I'm getting a great draft pick for next year with a better quarterback class. Because that's honestly, let's call it what it is. That's what the Steelers have lacked. Their team itself isn't great. Listen, they won their division. Good for them. I think it took a catastrophic Ravens collapse. Not even a fall from grace this season, just a collapse from the get-go. I think a lot of things had to go right. But if you ask any good faith, smart Steelers fan, they're going to tell you the same thing. This team is in dire need of a full rebuild. Jalen Ramsey played great this year. He's got to be gone. TJ Watt just got the huge contract. He's a Steeler for life kind of guy. He's going to be there. Cam Hayward, that's going to hurt. He's probably got to be gone. And I'm saying this without being a fan. I know it's harder to cut ties. Like, for example, when the Colts drafted Luck, I didn't want to get rid of Manning still. It's hard to cut ties. The Steelers, if you're gonna get rid of Tomlin, and by all reporting, this was pretty obvious that this was the last game for that marriage. You just got to restart. I think Steelers fans have been crying out for that too. It's like, hey, it's great to never have a losing season in almost 20 years, but like that's where the quarterbacks are. I mean, there aren't Tom Brady's walking through the door every day. There's not second and third round quarterbacks that are just like changing the game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously you can find your gems in the second, third round, but with the quarterback class that's projected to come out next year, I think this is great timing for a full Steelers blow it up and restart.
I agree. I think that's exactly what has to happen, and hopefully whoever they bring in has that same mindset and is willing to ruffle some feathers on day one. And I think that's just how it has to be. Yeah. And the thing is, if you're a Steelers fan, what you have to understand is, given those guys, like, I see Watt staying, probably the only one that's safe, but those other guys are going to be kind of in the twilight of their careers. You can, as a Steelers fan, just root for them to go to a contending team and let them get a chance at a ring. Look at it that way, and just kind of go from there. But just understand, it's for the best in the long run for your team.
Yeah, and again, talking about some of the old guard, Cam Hayward, he might want to stay because he feels like a Steeler for life kind of guy. But do you think Jalen Ramsey wants to hang around for a rebuild? Because I know the answer. Nah. I can just tell you. They do have some good young corners. I mean, until Nico Collins' brain exploded, Joey Porter Jr. had him in absolute hell. So there's pieces to build there. But I honestly think the Steelers are just going to have to be really bad next year and get through it. That brings our head coaching vacancies to 9. I believe 9 total openings in the league. And after I kind of thought about, wow, Tomlin has been the Steelers coach for most of my football watching life. There's an opportunity for the funniest thing. There's a show, I think it's on TLC maybe, it's on something, that did very well called Wife Swap. I think a John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin wife swap would be the absolute funniest possible outcome. And I think it could be good, honestly. Just fresh faces. We know they're both good coaches. John Harbaugh might be more ready to build a team from the ground up. I think he's a little bit better of a coach personally. Whereas Tomlin can bring in a team that's underperforming and get them back to baseline. I think Tomlin would make a ton of sense for the Ravens. Even though that would never happen, that would be the funniest possible outcome.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be funny to see. You just know it's never happening. I don't think Tomlin's head coaching next year.
I don't either. He's got a spot on media.
I think Harbaugh could definitely be coaching next year.
I think
does he want to is the question. I think Harbaugh is more of the does he want to question. Yeah, and then I guess let's dive into the other coaching news here. Petula out as OC in Philadelphia.
What? Shocker! Wow. Yeah. I also heard some LaFleur news. I don't think it has any merit.
I've heard it rumored. I don't know if it's happened.
I think if he gets fired, he's immediately the number one candidate in the market. Without much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still showing he's the coach. So I fear I might have got sentled. But that would be an insane thing to happen. What I'm afraid of is, and I mentioned it on last week's show, back to the Petulo thing. What's his name from Miami? McDaniels going to be the OC there if he doesn't get a head coaching job. That just seems like the exact spot where he can really, really succeed. It's a run. It's supposed to be a run-heavy offense. I think A.J. Brown's going to be gone. You've got one of the top 3 running backs in the NFL. You've got a running quarterback that can sometimes throw, depending. I just think he could really do some crazy things, especially with like a Tank Bigsby. Mike McDaniel's just, when I think of him, it's the second and third running backs, not the marquee guy that he really gets going.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm so out on Mike McDaniels that I am not going to buy into him being any good until he actually is any good at anything. Yeah. So for now, I'm not worried about it. Maybe I'll come back to regret that a year from now, but we'll see.
And then another guy that is probably or going to at least get interviews. That I think, I don't know if this is just me living in my own bubble, but I haven't heard enough of this guy, Jesse Minter. After watching the defensive performance against the Patriots,
he's 100% getting a bunch of interviews.
Where do you think he could go? What of the openings? Because I think we're seeing a bit of a shift back towards the NFL coaching cycles go back and forth.
I wouldn't be shocked to see him in one of two places. I could see him in Miami, actually.
Interesting.
Or Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's another spot I could see.
Pittsburgh could make some sense. I could also see him in Baltimore and Cleveland.
Baltimore as well. See, here's the thing with Cleveland. I just never have any idea about Cleveland, so I'm not going to make any predictions there. I don't think anyone wants to go to Cleveland. So
I'm just thinking defense.
I think he'll have
all
the better
we're
options.
Yeah.
I would say I think the reason I say Dolphins is because if they want to go, he's probably one of the more polar opposites than Mike McDaniels.
For sure. Exact opposite.
So that's kind of where my mind went on that one. Maybe they're trying to just do a real, hey, this didn't work, let's try this. And then Steelers or Baltimore both make sense to me. For whatever reason, Steelers seems more likely to me of those two. I don't know why particularly, but
that's fair.
But yeah, those would be kind of the three I have in mind.
Yeah.
Cleveland, I could see what you're saying with Cleveland as well.
So let's jump into some of these games. I think we've held off enough. Do you want to start NFL or do you want to go back to college on Thursday?
Let's go back to college. Before we do, I just wanted to make another comment. I mean, South Carolina, again, incredibly busy in the portal. Picked up another running back out of Penn State. Some more offensive line help. Nitro Tuggle. Just phenomenal job by the Gamecocks. Really seems like they're dominating the portal. Or maybe not dominating, but doing a really good job picking up some players in the portal. How that pans out, let's see. Vakari God is coming back as well. And then I did see some interesting news on Twitter today when I was scrolling during my workout. Rumors about a few SEC teams feeling disgruntled in the SEC and looking to pursue the ACC. South Carolina's name was mentioned there. I am adamantly opposed to that. We're an SEC team, and I would hate to move. But I did see those rumors, us along with like Florida's, Mississippi State, and there may have been one other included.
The money that would cost you would be insane. I'm looking at our
exactly.
I'm looking at our transfer list right now. I know we got another set of brothers, so that's always fun. We got a kid from Alabama and his brother or twin brother from Arkansas State. Aaron Nolan is finally committed elsewhere to Memphis. Best of luck, Aaron Nolan. I was really pumped for him. It just didn't work out. I want to see him get some starting time somewhere else. And then obviously losing Vandrevius Jacobs, that sucks. He's officially committed to Miami. That one was tough. There was the ton.
Coleman did go to Texas.
I know. I was gonna say let's touch on some of the bigger name guys. Levitt is rumored to LSU. 247 has put that as committed. I haven't seen the official, but Sam Levitt to LSU. LSU finally gets their quarterback. Yeah, Cam Coleman to Texas. Texas also flipped Hollywood Smothers from Bama, and they got the running back from Arizona State. So they replaced both their running backs. They got Cam Coleman. Isaiah Horton, I think that's his name, the kid from Alabama. He's going to A&M. So that's an underrated signing, I think, as well. And then this was right in front of us. I don't know how we didn't put it together. Chaz Coleman committed to Tennessee. We were super pumped about having his D-line coach, completely neglecting that Tennessee hired his defensive coordinator.
Well, I at least thought we were going to get to visit. I was very adamant on the last show. You know, usually once you leave a place and you opt to go to another visit, it looked like he was going to visit South Carolina this week. I wonder if Tennessee just threw a bag at him and said, hey, today or nothing. Take it. I really wish he had gotten a chance to come to South Carolina for a visit. Yeah. Would that have done anything? You never know. I don't know. But heck, I guess we'll be. Well, I think we play Tennessee this year. I am not sure though.
We might. Hey, listen, it can all be flipped still. Like we saw with Hollywood Smothers. There's one other. Auburn didn't just lose Cam Coleman. They lost Eric Singleton. That's gonna really hurt. He's a good player as well. He's going to Florida, so I don't like that. And there's one other guy. Where did he go? Dylan Raiola is officially committed to Oregon. So, sure. I don't know that I think he's any good, but Oregon's doing their thing still. The one that intrigues me the most.
Stock dropping.
The one that intrigues me the most for no reason, because I have not really seen him perform that well. Lagway to Baylor is just still interesting to me.
I can't wrap my head around that. I thought he'd go somewhere bigger. Maybe he just wants a little bit of a step away from the spotlight a little bit. But we'll see. Not that Baylor's a bad program, just from where I was expecting him to go and kind of my expectations were just not what I envisioned. Definitely wasn't on my radar at all.
Yeah, but just flipping through the recent ones from the last 2 days, I think we've touched on all the big guys. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I think the Gamecocks got 17 or so in the portal so far. I mean, there's obviously a lot to go until we kick the ball off in August. So I'm excited to see what happens. There's a lot of new
Plus, we will
faces.
be a Nike and about to be
Yeah,
a Nike school on July 1st, so that's a huge thing. If you don't think that matters, clearly you've never played sport in your life.
yeah.
Look good, feel good, play good. That's basic math. But let's, you touched on Dylan Raiola in Oregon. Let's dive into Indiana versus Oregon. I'm not sure I've ever been more right about an outcome in my entire life.
Yep.
Not to say, I mean, I think the rest of the podcast was also all over Indiana, but I believe what I've been quoted saying 13.5 is a good line. Man, I should have flipped that. Should have been 31.5, but wow.
Yeah, I did tap it at 33.5 in like the third quarter.
Jeez. I knew this game was over, and I wasn't prepared to commit to this on the kickoff. I saw the kickoff, and I was like, this game's over. I saw the literal kickoff. I didn't even need to see the pick six on the next play. It was the kickoff for me. It was just something about that play. You're like, oh, this game's over. And then the next play happened. I'm like, oh, it's actually completely over.
Yeah,
Even
and the guy,
touchdown drive Oregon had.
Yeah, the guy that picked it off.
No answer.
The guy that picked it off, I think it was Pons, right? Pons from Indiana. He in the third quarter he was taking snaps in running back. Like it was very clear Signetti was not going to take his foot off the gas until he had a 50 burger. There's not enough good things to say about Indiana. Like we talked about it last show. This team just doesn't make mistakes. And it's hard to quantify not making mistakes other than looking at penalties. I found a new way to quantify it. Through 2 games, Mendoza has 8 touchdown passes. Through 2 games, he has 5 incompletions. I mean, he puts the ball where it needs to go. The one time he fumbled, you have, I think it was Pat Coogan maybe, the Indiana lineman following the play, running downfield and getting
Johnny
the ball.
On the spot.
Yeah, like, even when they fuck up right. It's just, this team doesn't have a hole. Signetti, with a week to prepare, Signetti is unstoppable. I don't know. What else do you say about
Here's one thing I want to add. So, I mean, Mendoza, him throwing the ball, some of the throws he makes, the ball is literally just in the perfect spot. Like, I'm more and more impressed with him, except for one thing. His running, he's a decent runner, but he looks so goddamn awkward. I don't know it is.
He runs
just
straight
looks
up.
Weird. And his brother looks super athletic when he runs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting dynamic if you've seen Alberto run. And one thing I did want to give a shout out to is Oregon, the Oregon coaching staff. They made sure that Pons got that ball, and they'd already labeled it for him and taken care of that on their sidelines.
That was cool.
Got it to him after the game, the pick six ball. So that's a class act. You love seeing that kind of stuff. But man, I just don't know. Like, I mean, that one drive. I mean, maybe that was probably a scripted drive by Oregon. They were just ready to go. That happens in college football quite frequently. But I mean, after that, it was just Indiana was just all over the ball. Their offense it was surgically efficient. Just surgical. This is a Miami team that's playing really, really well. I just don't see how this is going to be. I don't see how they're a match for Indiana. I just don't see it. I don't get it.
So Pate was talking about it on his show the other day, and I think Josh Pate does some good work. I think some of the stuff he says is insightful in ways that I wouldn't have thought of. He reached out to FanDuel because he obviously has the deal with FanDuel or whatever, and asked them what the line would have been for Indiana versus Miami at a neutral site in Week 1, and it would have been Miami minus 6.5 per FanDuel. So over the course of 14, 15 weeks, we've seen Indiana basically get 2 touchdowns, favored by 2 touchdowns essentially, as far as the flip goes, and I don't think that's enough. Especially if Mesidor can't play, which I can't believe he came back in that game. Regardless, we'll touch on that game here after this one. But if Mesidor can't play, this game is already over to me. We talked about it as the keys. Yeah, and I'm kind of jumping around. Sorry. We talked about it as the keys for Ole Miss to beat Miami. Get them behind the game plan, make them throw the ball, don't let them settle into running the ball. Indiana is going to do that to Miami. They're going to get out early. They're going to be efficient on offense. They're going to score the ball. can Carson Beck beat Indiana with his arm? And I think that's a resounding no. Hand up, I'm the biggest Carson Beck non-believer. I have been. But I just don't see how he's going to beat this Indiana defense by throwing the ball. By the way, they're the number 1 ranked rushing defense. So that Mark Fletcher trick is not going to work.
Yeah, and I just think, yeah, they might get a good push off the line, but the way Indiana flows to a football, you're not getting to the second level. They're just their pursuit and filling holes. You might get a push off the line. Maybe. Yeah. I'm not even sure you get that against this team, but they're going to be in that hole. Okay, maybe you get 2-3 yards. That's not going to win the game. It's just not going to against this Indiana team. It's in Fernando Mendoza's hometown. Listen, I understand it's a Miami home game. If you looked at those stands, that was an Indiana home game. That had to be 90% Indiana fans. And I thought Oregon traveled well. I guess not. And I know these tickets are going to be a lot more expensive, but I have to expect it to be, I'm guessing, at least 50% Indiana is my guess. My guess on this one.
The one credit I'll give to Oregon fans is the week before they also played in Atlanta. So you have a ton of fans going to Atlanta, and then you're asking them to go back to Atlanta the next week.
Yeah.
That's tough. But, yeah, this Indiana team is just so complete. And they didn't leave any doubt from to your point, the moment the ball was kicked. The one key I think that Miami might have is I think on average their offensive line outweighs Indiana's by 50 pounds. So, I mean, if you're going to lean into something, lean into that. Indiana, it's not like Indiana doesn't play against hog mollies up front. They play in the Big Ten. That's corn-fed country. I mean, they're used to playing against big O linemen. Yeah. Anything else on this one?
Yeah. No. I mean, the last thing, just touching on the national championship game, there's not a world where I can bet on Miami. There just isn't. Mm-mm. I'm betting Indiana.
No. I'm happy to.
I don't know how I'm going to bet Indiana, but I have to do it. I can't responsibly bet Miami.
I'm happy to lose my money betting on Indiana and them not covering. I can't bet on. To me, this screams, and obviously Miami is better than that TCU team. But to me, this screams the people that were trying to be sharp betting TCU plus 17 or whatever it was against Georgia, and TCU losing 62-7 or whatever it was. Charlie Walker, that is you. That was Charlie. Charlie and I were living together at that point, and he kept live betting TCU every time the spread would go up. And I think his highest one was 35.5 before he gave up. They lost by 60 or 56 or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna take Indiana. I'm gonna take Indiana spread. I'm gonna take them plus or minus 13.5. I'm gonna be all over them. I don't care if this game is on the moon. Indiana's just a better team. But Miami, how did they get here? In one of the most entertaining college football semifinal games I've watched, and it really wasn't. It was funny, much like you.
Boone, I knew. We did touch on this one a little bit last week, so let's give a little bit of a recap before we dive too far into this game.
I forgot we recorded on Friday last week.
Yeah.
No, the one thing I was going to say on this one, because you're right, I totally forgot about that. Much like you, the Miami and Ole Miss teams don't like odd numbers. All their scoring came in the second and the fourth quarter. Other than that, it was kind of a bad game. But you're right, we touched on this one, so yeah, we don't need to dive in too far. I had totally forgotten about that.
Yeah, no worries. I still want to give the viewers the same thing we've been over. But yeah, to your point, it was an absolutely fantastic game. Miami deserves to be here. They've turned all the naysayers, kind of made them shut up. And it is interesting to say, though, wow, maybe Notre Dame might have been the next best team in the country. Maybe Notre Dame would have been a finalist too. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
The Notre Dame fans, and I understand why you're mad, but you're not mad at Miami. Miami beat you, so they should have been over you. But you're mad at Alabama. You're mad at Tulane. Sorry. I don't think you were going to beat this Indiana team regardless, so it doesn't really matter in my opinion. Mesidor being healthy is humongous for Miami in this championship game.
Almost has to be. I mean, I think he's going to go no matter what.
Yeah,
you got to expect him to go, I think. But
what is I'm trying to pull this up now. What do we have for I know it's Indiana minus 7.5. Wow, Indiana's now minus 8.5. Over under 47.5. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna take the over just because fuck it, why not?
Yeah, it's a national
one of my rules is you take points when it comes to big games. Yeah, the more I've thought on this, I just can't talk my way into Miami winning. If they do, I will give them all the credit in the world next week, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen for me.
No. Moving on to the NFL.
Let's dive in. I mean, I think we kind of already broke down the game from last night, but let's, after doing that, let's dive back to Saturday. Let's look at Saturday. Look at that first game we got on Saturday. What a fantastic game! Epitome of a Josh Allen wildcard weekend game is kind of how I would describe this game. Just an entertaining football.
Yeah.
Game kind of went how I thought it was going to go. Game went almost exactly how I thought it was going to go. It was exciting pretty much from start to finish. And then Josh Allen was just a little bit too much for Trevor Lawrence. That's kind of how this game played out, kind of how you felt like that's how the Bills are going to have to win. I really do think the Jacksonville Jaguars actually might be the better football team.
I do too.
But
I do as well.
But Josh Allen just Superman cape was a little bit too bright that day. And he played fantastic and made the big plays when he had to make the big plays. I mean, that play when he got hit and threw that ball downfield was just stupid, which is why, despite the MVP race still being between Drake May and Matthew Stafford, if you watch any sort of football, the best player in the NFL right now is Josh Allen.
And the most valuable.
Maybe not consistently.
The most valuable player is Josh Allen, too. If you took him off that Bills team, they're not a playoff team. I'm sorry, they're not.
I mean, I would see. Listen, here's the thing. I would say the same thing about Drake May. I don't think the Patriots are a playoff team without Drake May.
The Patriots' defense is still good, though. Like, the Bills' defense was...
That's true. That is true.
They played fine. I mean...
That is true.
Listen, the Jaguars' rush defense was incredible. The Jaguars' defense as a whole was incredible. The Jaguars' offense for a lot of the game was incredible. And Parker Washington, as a fan of a team in the Jaguars division, I'm not pumped about him. Parker Washington is unguardable. And
he had a real coming out party on Saturday.
So they played Sunday. Just a quick.
Oh shit! Did I get this backwards?
You did, but it's okay.
Oh jeez, okay.
We survive in advance. If I'm the Jaguars, I'm looking at this game and saying, what more could we have done? Your defense held for the majority of the game. Your rush defense specifically was good. For whatever reason, they just couldn't stop Brandon Cooks, and Brandon Cooks is still somehow only 28. He's on his 19th team. I mean, he was a huge difference maker in that game, just getting downfield, making huge plays.
Wait. Brandon Cooks is 28 years old?
No. Sorry. That was a joke.
Oh. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
No, Brandon Cooks.
I just be like, whoa.
I just remember a couple years ago.
32. He's 32.
But still, that seems too young even. Oh.
Yeah, I thought like 34 or 35.
Yeah,
oh,
I just remember Brandon Cooks when he was on his third team. They're like, and he's still only 26. He's forever young too. But regardless, Brandon Cooks is, what a pickup. Because that wasn't even a trade, right? They claimed him off waivers, if I'm not mistaken. He really came out to play because they were shutting down James Cook. The rushing game completely outside of the 40-yard tush push that happened right at the end of the game. Outside of that, I mean, the Jags defense was playing really well. If I'm a Jags fan, I'm looking at that like, what more could we have done? Because I do believe this Jaguars team could have made a run at the Super Bowl. They just came up against Josh Allen.
But now here's my concern from a Jaguars fan. Is this another like Blake Bortles year where it's just like, oh, we had this really good year, kind of a little bit out of nowhere, and then just utter and complete collapse again for the next 10 years?
I don't think it's a Blake Bortles year.
I could see it happen. I could see them taking a big step backwards next year.
Well, and I think Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Blake Bortles. I think this team offensively is better. But in my lifetime, the Jaguars do this. They have that big flash in the pan year, and then they kind of go back for the next 3 or 4 years, get a couple top 5 draft picks. They just, for whatever reason, they can't sustain it. I hope that trend continues. I hope Brian Thomas gets traded. I think that'd still be a huge mistake. I hope Parker Washington fizzles out in the next 2 years and then is traded or goes to a different team. I want nothing but poor luck and non-success for this Jaguars team. I think they're built for a sustained run for the first time ever. That said, we have the Bills advancing. They play the Broncos in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the game I want necessarily. I kind of want to see the Bills versus the Patriots now, but I think that could be a fun one. And we'll touch on the preview here after we review all these games. But anything else on this one?
No. Well, let's just stay in the AFC then. I guess we'll do it that way since I butchered up the order here. Patriots, Chargers.
Take your flowers.
It wasn't an ugly win. And I'm gonna steal this. This has been beat to death across Boston media, but it's the playoffs. I'll take a win any way I can get one in the playoffs. Yeah, and there were so many positives come from this game. The defense looked absolutely incredible. From top to bottom. A little bit concerned about the Christian Gonzalez injury.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's all right, good to go with the concussion. That'd be a big loss. With that being said, the offense, listen, the mistakes were turnover related. They got the ball moving. The two left tackle, Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, the two rookies, offensive, they got their asses kicked for a lot of this game. I think it is correctable. I think they might have just been the moment. They weren't having the right schemes. Both those guys have missed a good amount of time this year. But you know this Texans defense, especially with Will Anderson, is going to be preparing for that. But I think that those things are correctable. I think the offensive game plan is going to take that into account going into this next game. I think Josh McDaniels is going to have a wonderful game plan prepared for the Texans. But really, Drake May, apart from the turnovers, I'm not going to blame him for the pick. The fumbles are on him. The fumbles are on him trying to do too much. It's his first playoff game. I get it. But when we needed drives, he consistently made plays. He looked comfortable out there throwing the ball. It wasn't his best game by any means, but I'm very, very confident in the way that team played. There's a lot of good things. They looked like a confident playoff football team that can make a run in these playoffs. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. It was a pretty comfortable win. It never felt nerve-wracking. Well, it did, but not like in the sense of, shit. And I as bad and maybe as ugly as this game was and boring to watch, I'm very confident now that the Patriots can make a run in this playoffs. And I don't think there's a team where I'm like, we don't have a chance against them by any means. And I definitely like the matchup against the Texans. Really was hoping it might have been the Steelers, who I think we would have just...
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to know what that score would have been.
We already watched it. It would have been 30-6.
I'm excited.
We know exactly what the score would have been.
I'm excited.
30-6 because the Patriots and the Texans are so similar to me. I did have a little bit of breaking news while you were talking. It is some of the funnier breaking news I've seen. There is a pond that's on the Indiana campus. It is now officially named D'Angelo's Pond, according to the university. So just a little bit of funny breaking news there. Indiana now has named an official landmark D'Angelo's Pond. But yeah, listen, this game, I made one of my bigger bets of the NFL season on the Patriots. I didn't see how the Chargers, without either left tackle or running back, I didn't think Omarion Hampton was going to play healthy. He obviously played one snap, lost a yard, and never came back in. I put one of my biggest bets in on the Patriots, and in true hater form, there got to a point where I was like, the Chargers could win this. Now, I started rooting for the Chargers, even though I was so financially leveraged on the Patriots. That just goes to show that the trauma of the mid-2000s never dies. Listen, this team is good. It's well built. It's well coached. The D-line played really well. Again, I don't know that the Chargers' offensive line is much to get excited about right now with the injuries they had. But listen, we just watched the Texans give up sack after sack, rush after rush, pressure after pressure to the Steelers, and I don't think they're very good either. So I do think that the Patriots defense could get home against the Texans. These two teams to me are just so similar, even down to the quarterback play. Weird interceptions, weird fumbles, trying to do too much. Offensive miscues against a team you should have really probably beaten a lot worse. I know the scores look worse, but a lot of that was fourth quarter scoring. I think the Patriots really got to run the ball well to help set up Drake May, take some of the pressure, especially against this Texans defense. But credit to the Chargers. They knew what they were up against, and they rose to the challenge. The turning point in this game to me was the Drake May fumble that I think your offensive lineman jumped on, but he just barely beat. It was late in the second half, maybe even the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Zero on the Chargers, whose names escape me right now, was maybe a fraction of a second away from picking up that fumble and housing it to make it a 16-10 game. Completely changed the momentum of the game. The Patriots kind of pulled in Indiana and they cleaned up mistakes when they needed to. I don't know that I'm. We'll get to this here later, but I think the Super Bowl winner is going to be from the NFC this year. Just the way the AFC has looked, to me, at least in my eyes. That said, the Patriots deserve to win this game. They were the better team. They are the better team. And I'm excited to see the Patriots move on only because they're a better team to watch in the playoffs than this Chargers team.
Yeah. I have one thing. I know we can dive into this more in the preview section of the show, but I actually disagree with you. I don't want to run the ball to start the game against the Texans. I want to, kind of like what they did in the Ravens game, where they just let it be Drake May football. I want to do it the reverse way. I want to go Drake May, start slinging the football, quick, just attack that defense, get them uncomfortable. Oh, that opens up the run game. Then the run game gets going. And then then you have no idea what's going to happen. I think that's the game plan that you have to go with against the Texans. Pass the ball first, run it second, and then you start mixing them up, and it's game over. That's how you beat that Texans.
I agree with you. I wasn't saying start the game off with a ton of runs. I was saying you got to lean on the run. No. Lean on the run throughout the game. Because at the end of the day, a team like the Texans, you got to some of those draw plays, some of those screens, some of those quick things to running backs, especially Henderson, to use the Texans' over pursuit almost against them, because Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are coming. They're coming hard. I fear for your rookie tackles against those two guys.
Me too. But I'm almost glad that we played the Chargers first and it got exposed.
Yeah,
because I think now there's going to be some type of game plan that's going to negate them, or like you said, use their will against them. And when it also, big shout out to Ramondre Stevenson, who was fantastic in the pass game.
Awesome. He was awesome.
Chargers. But it's one of those things where it's almost like I want Drake May to get hot really quick in this game, and then you open up get Drake May comfortable instead of trying to get the run game going. Get Drake May comfortable. He's going to win that game for us. Yeah. It's not going to be the run game. The run game is going to open up the game, but Drake May is going to win it. I'd rather him just get going early, quick, and then you feel comfortable.
Tell me if this was something that my mind was playing tricks on me, or if I saw this correct. It felt like there was a lot of. I know Drake May had a couple of overthrows, especially that one to Hooper, I think, which I appreciated because I had Hunter Henry to score, so I was glad that happened. But it felt like there was drops in big spots, especially from Stephon Diggs. Am I making too big of a thing out of a couple plays, or was that happening all game?
I think there was 2 or 3 early drops on big plays, but they were in times when it was still like a 6-3 game, so there was only 2 or 3 of them, which is a lot, and they were all in big spots, but they seemed like a lot more and a lot bigger impact because they were just huge spots and in a situation when you can't really be having those things happen. So, yeah. But I don't think they were as many or as fluid as you thought they were.
Okay. Last thing I'll say on this game before we move on. I felt bad for Justin Herbert. That poor guy. I mean, there was one hit on his last fumble. I think it was his last fumble. Where he got annihilated and laid on the ground, and I was like, he's dead. I don't care if he's dead or not, but Justin, you don't need to go back in, dude. This game's over. But credit to him, he battled. I thought the offensive play calling for the Chargers left a lot to be desired there because they started doing these long routes, and he was not having any time to make the plays. It was, again, not to keep making these comparisons, it was the same thing I saw in the Steelers game. When they were doing short passes, it was almost neutralizing the defense a little bit, but they kept opting for these long developing pass like passing routes that just didn't. There was never enough time. Keenan Allen had a bunch of drops as well that were uncommon for him, and I was super tuned into him because I had him to have 4 catches. So it was just sloppy all around. That's all I've got on this game. I mean, Patriots looked good. Chargers fought. Justin Herbert's a dog. I wish we had 2 first-round picks to trade for Justin Herbert instead of Sauce Gardner.
That'd be sweet. I think Justin Herbert still has potential to be a decent quarterback in this league, or a winning quarterback in this league.
It's just something about the Chargers, man. It's something about the Chargers that just breeds injury. I don't know if like the trainers are going in at night and like cutting people's ACLs just slightly so they tear and get. Like, I don't know what it is, but they just can't stay healthy. I would love to see this team with a healthy Hampton, a healthy Slater, and a healthy Joe Alt.
Yeah, be a different team for sure. But let's dive into a team that wish Charlie was here to talk about. Let's actually go to Saturday now. Sorry, and the Panthers.
We'll touch on the NFC now. That's how we spin it.
Yeah, there we go. The Panthers and the Rams.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow. I mean,
I don't know if I should be more impressed with the Panthers or disappointed with the Rams. That first quarter, was it a 4th and goal they didn't get? No, it was the interception on the goal line. Something like that. In the first quarter, the Rams were about to go up 24-7. Panthers get the turnover. They march down the field. They score. Go into half 14-17. And the game from that point was a fight. I mean, the Panthers, you got to give them so much credit for where they started, all the things people are talking about. This team did not give up. They fought their asses off. And for the most part, they more than gave themselves a chance. The Rams had to score on one of the best passes I've seen this NFL season to win the game.
I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but
best passing plays, because what you have a tight end toe tapping at the pylon was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what a game. It was a great game. Kind of like your point. It kind of seemed like the Rams were all over them, and then the end of the first half, everything switched.
Yeah.
And then it was just a dogfight the rest of the game. Or I guess you could call it a cat fight. Listen, Tet was unbelievable.
Boo. Yeah, go on.
Tet was unbelievable. The fans at Bank of America Stadium, shout out Charlotte. They seemed incredible. That place seemed like it was rocking all game. Had a few friends there. It seemed like tarps off was a big move in the stadium.
Big tarps off.
Well, so shout out there.
It was like 72 degrees, so it was nice.
But here's the thing, and it's been beat to death as well. You've heard other places. You left way too much fucking time for Matthew Stafford in that game. Mm-hmm. I know you can't play it. I know you can't play that situation. But with how good he's been this year, how good that offensive is, how good Puka Nacua is, who I think should probably be the offensive player of the year, but that can be discussion for another time. That was way too much time. I knew it the second they got the ball. Everybody and their mother knew it was too much time. And he left a lot of time on the clock too, even. But, I mean, it was just silly. Like, you knew that result was going to happen. Credit to Matthew Stafford, though, for going out there and making it happen. And then I hated what the Panthers, because I think the Panthers got the ball back with 40 seconds left at least. That could be a little much, but they had a chance to drive down and make some plays, and they just did absolutely nothing. Yeah. And that means I know it's a tough situation. I'm not saying it's easy by any means, but I was a little disappointed they at least didn't do something, get a completion at least.
Yeah.
But it was a fantastic game and really a great way to kick off our NFL Wildcard weekend. And then like we said, things just kind of kept rolling for this game and the next 3 after it.
Yeah, Puka Nacua was absolutely insane, with the exception of that weird drop he had at the end of the first half. That was probably a walk-in touchdown, but still, 10 catches.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, 10 catches, 111 yards, a touchdown. I mean, he was a beast. And then the guy that's probably going to put our sweet prince, Xavier Legette, out of work, Jalen Coker, was awesome. He's no Tet McMillan. I think he's a perfect foil for Tet McMillan. But the way he plays so fast, 9 catches, $134, a tug. I mean, he could be a big time player for them.
Funny enough, I actually sent a text in our group chat calling for his head. I'm like, hey, maybe he should not come back out in the field. And ever since I did that, that's when he started playing great. It was after he kind of stopped running that route in the middle of the field.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then that,
yeah.
interception. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And then after that, I'm like, I got to eat my words. Or maybe he was like, I don't know, maybe he had Charlie's phone. I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
he was in the chat.
Phenomenal after that. Little
Yeah.
ghost text or something. But yeah, he looked really, really good. Another coming out party for him. There was a few wide receivers that really had huge weekends that you wouldn't expect it from. Washington, him, Christian Kirk last night was unbelievable for the Texans.
Unstoppable.
But
let's jump into who the Rams will be going to take a visit to. Listen, we talked a lot of shit about the Chicago Bears, and for the first 30 minutes of that game, we were right. I was ready to get on here today and take a victory lap. It was just the way that game started through one half of football was the most obvious, predictable game I've ever watched. I mean, we were talking about it in the chat. I laddered Jordan Love touchdowns to 5 because it's like Jordan Love's going to go off against his team. It's the Packers. It's the Bears. I've watched this movie 100 times. Credit to Ben Johnson. Credit to Caleb Williams. Credit to whatever Michael Jordan's secret sauce they were drinking in the locker room at halftime. And credit to the Bears faithful. From everything I've heard, everything I've seen on Twitter, everything I've read, the Bears fans kept the energy going in Soldier Field in the second half, and they completed the comeback. They completed a comeback that I would have expected the Bears to give up. Like if you told me without telling me the teams, one team goes up 25 points and then blows the lead to lose the game, I would have said the Packers came back in the fourth quarter and ripped out the Bears' hearts. But we saw a little bit of a changing in the guards here.
yeah, we did. I was shocked. I mean, all hand up, I was in the same boat as you, saying the same stuff. However, with that being said, I thought Matt LaFleur coached a pretty bad, or just got his ass kicked by Ben Johnson coaching the second half. Just, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Colston Loveland, a dominant second half. Really, really impressive performance. And here's the thing. I was so ready to come back on here and do the same thing we talked about until the last play of the game. I thought for sure that was going to be the most Bears loss of all time. This huge comeback, and then Christian Watson in the end zone for a touchdown as time expires. That is how I saw that game ending on that final drive, and it just didn't quite happen. But, credit to the Bears. Great game. Really, really good game. I don't really have much more to add on. I'm excited for the Rams-Bears matchup. I'm still not buying in on the Bears to win anything. I still think their hearts get broken out at home this Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, but now the Bears can even, like, I know the Bears players in the locker room won't be saying this, obviously, but in a lot of ways, this is going to feel like their Super Bowl, eliminating the Packers. I loved Ben Johnson's quote when he was asked, like, does he regret what he said about the Packers? Does he regret the handshake thing at the end? And he just pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but he pretty much deadpan response, no, I'm not apologizing. This is a rivalry, and I do not like that team. Love that. Perfect. It's a rivalry. Stop being such bitches
Football
in the media.
Mindset.
People in the media are like, oh, have some class.
Quit getting offended.
Yeah. And I thought the Big Cat said this really well on Pardon My Take. The Packers fans were just like the big brother who has been beating up on the little brother for years, and the little brother's finally able to punch back, and the Packers say, oh, that's not fair, you're not allowed to hit me too. Like, the Packers fans just being such sissies about this. You lost, you blew it, your little brother came back and whooped your ass. I think the Bears had 25 fourth quarter points, and at the end of the day, Brandon McManus cost this team 4 points down the stretch, and they lost by 4 points.
Awful.
The kicking,
he can't be back next year.
No. The kicking, whatever's happened to missing point afters this season is truly shocking to me. The amount of games we've seen decided because the kicker on one team misses a point after. I mean, we saw it in the game we're going to get to next. Jake Elliott missed a field goal and a point after, and they lost by 4 as well. I mean, the kicking conundrum we have today, especially as it pertains to point afters, is just it doesn't make any sense to me. That said, congrats to Chicago. What a game this was. I mean, I didn't think we would be able to get a better game than the first game, and we followed up with a 25-point fourth quarter Bears comeback win. Incredible football.
Yeah, I think this is the best game of the weekend in my opinion. Also, it makes that Ole Miss kicker. That Ole Miss kicker. He's going to be very, very valuable coming out of the draft. He might be a second or third rounder. Second's a little bit pushing it. I could easily see third. But yeah, let's dive into the last game here. A game I think me and you were both in the same boat on.
Yeah. Not to take away anything with the 49ers. Not to take away anything from later in the show, but you did pull off a clean sweep, 3 for 3 this week. And one of those picks, 49ers money line.
I needed it.
Yeah. I got to go back and tally up. I did not do that for this show. I apologize. Big road trip all day today. But this game, I think we had the same thought. On paper, the Eagles are better in almost every position, mainly because the 49ers are the walking wounded. I mean, they're injuries. But for whatever reason, I just never had a doubt the 49ers are going to win this game.
Yeah, I got two things on better at every position. First, Jesus Christ, George Kittle. Talk about the injury bug on Fields. Dude. San Francisco, that's going to have to be looked into. This is a real problem. Real problem.
Well, this is
and I feel like there's too many fields like this in the NFL where it's happening. Yeah, I know. Well, it's more so like San Francisco. Why are always San Francisco players always getting injured too?
Yeah.
Like a training room something situation. And their field also has other issues. But I don't know. Maybe they're more their training room. I just think there's something a little fishy going on. And Quinyon Mitchell, days after being named first team All-AP, I sent a text in after a couple plays. I'm like, I haven't watched a ton of the Eagles football game, like every snap this year. Quinyon Mitchell is no right being a first team APL. No right. He's a good cornerback. He is not first team All-AP.
I don't know. I don't know.
Don't understand.
Promptly after you
it.
Yeah, I don't know. Promptly after you said that, he had 2 picks and then almost had a third to win the game by himself.
I know, but like 2 of them were just the first one or the second one of the 2, I forget, was just an awful throw by Purdy. Was thrown right to him. I've just saw him get beat so much in coverage in that big of a game. Listen, I am not saying he's not a good player and a Pro Bowler. He is not the first team All-Pro. There's players still like Patrick Surtain out there. Christian Gonzalez is better than him. I'm being a little homer there, and Christian Gonzalez was injured, so he doesn't deserve it this year. But I just don't see him being the first team All-Pro. I have a bone to pick with that.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm a Quinyon Mitchell fan. I wanted him last year. I thought taking Latu was a disservice to the team. However, I can see where you're coming from. To stick with our trend of the unsung receivers, DeMarcus Robinson with 111 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's fantastic. He absolutely roasted Quinyon Mitchell on the opening play.
And the touchdown in that drive.
Yeah. He scored the touchdown on that drive as well. The 49ers, just gutsy performance. They, like we said, Trent Williams came back, but he's been injured. Fred Warner's out. Joey Bosa's out. They lose Greg Kittle, which sucks with the timing because now you lose him for all of the year. As a guy who watched his best player tears Achilles in the last game of the season with Halliburton and the Pacers, you have now a lame duck here. Fortunately for them, Jake Tom just looks good. He's obviously not George Kittle. I think from a receiving standpoint, he could still offer a ton. It's that run blocking that you get with George Kittle that you probably lose out there. But I think they'll still have some success with the tight end room. But the real story, I think, from this game, I mean, obviously the 49ers playing with so many injured players. What happened in Philadelphia? Saquon looked good for large parts of the game. A.J. Brown dropped everything. Anytime they needed a big play, A.J. Brown dropped it. Him and Sirianni got into it on the sideline. Just what happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be something people are going to look at years and years from now because this is the team that should be playing for another Super Bowl. From a talent perspective, they got better in the offseason, in my opinion. They got better as a team. Well, maybe not as a team, as a talent perspective. Maybe clearly not as a team. Coaching took a step back. But yeah, just an all-time collapse. Something that, as an Eagles fan, you have to be just up in arms about.
Yeah,
And real disappointed.
I do think a big piece here was no Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson just makes that team go in a lot of ways. But, I mean, I get coaching's important. But for this Eagles team specifically, and I feel like we've seen it the last couple of years, because obviously you lose Steichen to the Colts a couple of years ago after that Super Bowl run. You lose Kellen Moore this year. This Eagles offense specifically feels like if they don't have a bona fide superstar calling plays, they're just dipshits. They can't play football. And it surprises me because Sirianni was the Colts OC before he came to the Eagles. He got that job off being a good OC. So don't get me wrong, Nick Sirianni knows way more about football than I'll ever know. But why can't he just call the plays? Like, why? He was good at that. That's how he got the job, was being a good play caller. So I just don't understand why the head coach is the same. The head coach is an offensive guy. Why losing a Kellen Moore kills you so much? Yes, Kevin Petula is a dipshit, but Sirianni was a good offensive coordinator. I don't understand why he can't just say, "Hey, Petula, I got it."
Yeah, I don't know, or at least help out sometimes. Be a little bit more part of it. I've never understood that. I never will. I don't think I've ever gotten a real answer about it. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
of all these teams, I think the Jaguars should be the most upset because I think they're the best team playing the best football that got eliminated. But the Eagles are the best team on paper that got eliminated, and obviously Eagles fans, everything gets worse, more dramatic, I guess. The Eagles fans are going to be playing the what-if game all offseason, as are the Jaguars. The other teams 100%. I don't think were realistic contenders.
Oh. No. Well, let's dive into, I think every team left has a small chance at winning in some fashion. There's two teams I'm kind of bought. The three I'm bought out on. Three I'm bought out on. There's 5 teams I think have a chance.
All right, let's start there. Let's start there. Who are your 3 teams? Because I see at least 2 that you don't think have a chance.
I don't think the Chicago Bears have a chance.
I agree.
I don't think the Chicago Bears have a chance, and I don't think the Texans have a chance.
I disagree with the Texans. I disagree with the Texans only because they have the best defense in the playoffs.
I can't put C.J. Stroud winning a championship.
That's fair.
And the third team is up until losing George Kittle, I had them as a contender. Losing George Kittle now makes them a non-contender for me, and that is the point. And I hate to do it, but Kittle stays healthy, they still have a chance to me. But those are my 3 who I have out.
I agree with those. I agree with 2 of those. I see the Texans. I don't. I think that defense is a championship defense, and I think you can win with that. But let's start at the top. Saturday, 4:30. The Buffalo Bills going to Denver. Line Denver -1.5, over under 46.5. You're lying to yourself if you haven't already thought, I wonder how far Josh Allen could throw the ball in that air. I think this is the game I'm most excited about of this round. I love this spot. I know it's not the marquee spot, the primetime spot, but I'll be down in West Palm this weekend for a bachelor party and a 4:30 drinks before dinner kind of game, a little matinee, if you will. This could not be a better game for that to kick off the weekend. I'm so excited, and I am going to be taking the Bills to win this game. I believe. I just don't trust Bo Nix yet.
I'm also on the Bills in this game, and I am a cocky, ignorant asshole. I'm so confident that if the Patriots can beat the Houston Texans, they beat the winner of this game. Don't care who it is, but I like the Bills here. I just think Josh Allen puts on that cape a little bit and just lets the ball fucking fly in that air. up in Denver, Colorado. I think this is going to be an exciting game. I do think Bo Nix is going to actually impress a lot of people in this game. I think this is the game where people can finally be like, you know what, damn, Bo Nix has something. Bo Nix has something.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a quarterback duel, and much like it was against Trevor Lawrence, I think that cape is just a little bit too big on Josh Allen's back, and he carries his team to another close victory.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that.
But I'm also going to be on the Bills.
I hate to say it, but this does feel like an under game to me, only because I think Josh Allen, as good as he is, the Broncos defense is maybe the second or third best unit in football. At home, especially, I think is going to be tougher. I also think that the Bills defense is going to be enough to compete with Bo Nix, especially if they're getting vintage Tre'Davious White performances like they got against the Jaguars. But that said, to me, I think these teams are evenly matched, but one team has Josh Allen, the other team has Bo Nix. And I don't know. I think I could see both one seeds losing this week. Well, actually, no, I take that back. Looking at this, the 49ers, but I think the Bills win this game. I don't know that I see a way for the Broncos to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Well, now that you said it, let me dive into the Seahawks game, 49ers. Because I can see the Seahawks losing this game, and I am going to take the 49ers as my pick this week again. Why? Partially because there's not very many options, and I just don't see the Bears winning. But, that's neither here nor there. It's a divisional matchup. If it wasn't a divisional matchup, I would be taking the Seahawks in this game. And for whatever reason, divisional matchups in the playoffs are always a little bit trickier. And I just trust... I know this is a crazy statement. I trust Brock Purdy more than I do Sam Darnold. And if Brock Purdy has one of those weird games where he just, for whatever reason, puts on his magic hat, which he's done a few times in his career, he wins this game. And I, for whatever reason, just think the Seahawks having to bye is going to be bad for the Seahawks. And I love the 49ers to win this game. I don't love it, actually. I like it. Let me backtrack. But I like the 49ers here. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think it's going to be a Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy masterclass, and they just find a way to win this game.
I see where you're coming from. I think that there is anything's possible at this point in the playoffs, right? I think Seattle kills them. I really do. I
could see that happening as well.
And much like your last point, the majority of this is based off of George Kittle being out. I think emotionally that lift is huge for this team, and I just don't know that they can recover from it. I think there's a ton of energy expended in the last game, but emotional energy as well. Losing another guy. How I feel about the 49ers and their ability to win and or cover this game is going to be so geared on Ricky Pearsall's availability. If he can play, and I'm waiting to make this bet until that's officially announced, because I'm hoping he can play and the line comes down a little bit, maybe it's even 6.5, so I can get a clean touchdown to win it. But I'm taking the Seahawks, and it has nothing to do with Sam Darnold. It has everything to do with that defense and playing at home. I think the Seahawks walk this one. I think they're too good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Listen, I think this could be a very close game where the 49ers are able to pull it out, or they get blown up by the Seahawks.
Yeah,
but
if the 49ers win this game, it's because Sam Darnold played badly. That's where I'm at with this game. I think the way Sam Darnold plays is going to be the number one teller of how this game went. We did just see this game in week 8. Was it week 18 or was it week 17? Might have been week 17. We just saw this game. It was week 18, 13-3. Seattle won, or maybe even 10-3. I think they do it again. If I'm not mistaken, this would be the rubber match. I think the 49ers beat Seattle in the first game. So this is a true rubber match, which makes me feel more confident about the Seahawks winning this game.
You know what? I think the Seahawks might have won both games.
Did they? Let's see.
Nope, the 49ers won the first one. So yes, it is a true rubber match.
Because I want to say it was like a 5 interception game or something crazy for. It was the first game of the season. I think this team is too good, and I think the Sam Darnold collapse is going to come in the next week against the. Well, we'll get to that game here in a second. Ev, you want to touch on your boys?
Touched on a little bit earlier. I think you're going to get an absolute offensive masterclass in this game, and going to shut up the best defense or one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think you get a Drake May game that we've long been waiting for. What we were hoping was happening last weekend. I think Drake May has an incredible performance, leads the Patriots to victory, and I just don't think the Texans' offense is good enough to keep up with what the Patriots do offensively in this game. That's how this game is going to go. I think you see about a 20-7 game, a 20-10 game. That's my prediction on this game. Nothing super high scoring, but I just don't see the Texans staying in this one. Patriots start fast and just lock in and win it.
I see the exact opposite. Now, much like you're a fan, I'm a hater. So I'm rooting, even though the Texans are in my division, I'm rooting for the Texans. Patriots have caused me much more trauma than the Texans ever have or ever could. And listen, I'm a loser. I've always been a loser. This Texans defense is so good. Petrie is an absolute dog. I think he's going to make some big plays. But really, for me, it comes down to C.J. Stroud can't be such a doy-doy like he was. So those 2 fumbles, maybe even the third, the first 2 at least, were just the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. Obvious times where, like, it was like the old Josh Allen. Like, you try to mash all the buttons and see what happens, and you end up turning the ball over. I think he's going to clean it up a bit. The Gonzalez thing is obviously a huge piece. If he can't play, I would feel really nervous. But my biggest thing here is, y'all, is your right tackle a rookie as well? I know Will Campbell, obviously, but is your right tackle a rookie?
So it's our left tackle and our left guard.
Okay, I got you. Well, that actually makes it a little bit better.
They're both just coming back from injuries as well.
Yeah.
They're both just coming back from injuries as well.
I watched that Steelers game with one thing in mind because the game itself sucked. I watched 3 players. I watched Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, and Jalen Petrie. The push that the Texans D-line gets when only rushing 4, and then just Jalen Petrie, if anything goes underneath, he just absolutely annihilates, tries to take people's heads off. I don't foresee Will Campbell succeeding against the 2 of them over the course of a game. I say Will Campbell because I don't know your right tackle. I don't see him succeeding either. Those 2 edges are just so good. I think this is another ugly, sloppy game because I think the Patriots defense is also really good. Again, a lot of that hinges on Christian Gonzalez. I hope he can play. As a football fan who doesn't like either of these 2 teams really, I hope he can play because I want to see at least entertaining football. Those 2 edges are so good. They're so complete. They're so fast. And I think that we see a little bit, not a lot, not the entire thing. I think we see a little bit of what the Patriots did to Justin Herbert could potentially happen here as well. Those guys are just so goddamn good.
We'll see. Patriots are very good about getting the ball out quick, have a lot of receivers capable of doing it. And I think this is going to be a Josh McDaniels fantastic he has a week to prepare for it. I'm very confident in Josh McDaniels. He's been here before, knows what he's doing. We've had the Texans number in the playoffs previously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we'll see. It is a tough matchup, and we'll see. And I also expect Will Campbell to make a big jump this week. But we'll see.
The other piece, wait, before you jump on the other piece that I almost forgot to mention, talking concussions, Christian Gonzalez would be a huge loss. I think he'd be a bigger loss. I do think he's going to play, though. Nico Collins, I don't think is going to play. I mean, he didn't look like he knew where he didn't look like he knew where he was. And if you can move Christian Gonzalez, assuming he plays, to what's the guy's name from Iowa State? Shoot, Jaden Higgins, is that it? Something Higgins.
Yeah.
If you could move him on a Higgins and then put and then be able to cover Kirk with someone else rather than like a third or fourth corner, cover him with your second corner. No Nico
Carl
Collins.
Davis, yeah.
No Nico Collins could be huge here. for the Patriots defense. So another big thing to watch. I don't think Nico Collins is going to play. This has nothing to do with anything I've read. This has everything to do with me watching him try to leave the field. Christian Gonzalez obviously looked bad as well, but I think Nico's looked a little worse.
Yeah, I don't think Christian Gonzalez looked that bad.
Christian Gonzalez looked bad. He looked bad to me at first, but once he got off the field, like Nico Collins tried to come back on the field from the tent.
Yeah.
Like Nico Collins, everyone saw it. Christian Gonzalez, I think that the spotter had to call down and be like, "Hey, you got to get that guy off the field."
Yeah. We'll see. The Patriots, again, will be without Mac Hollins. He is eligible to return if we make it to the AFC Championship game, though, so that's something to keep in mind. But let's dive into this last game here. Rams, Bears. I've told you where I'm at in this. I just think this is where it ends for the Bears. However, They're making it harder for me to think that way based off how bad the Rams have played. But listen, I just think it's time for the Bears fans to be Bears fans as usual. And I have the Rams winning this one. I think Matthew Stafford is just going to outclass and outlast this Bears team. I don't have much more to add on it. I think it's going to be a competitive game, but I just love the Rams here.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, except for I don't know that I think it's going to be that competitive. I think the Rams got scared last week with what almost happened because they didn't step on the throat in the first half. I think the Bears expended a lot, like I said earlier, I think the Bears expended a lot of emotional energy, huge win. Even though you've moved on from the wild card to the divisional, the Bears media is already saying how successful this season was. And it was. It was a great season. You won the division. You're in the divisional round. You haven't been in the playoffs since the double doink. It was an objectively great season. But for your own media people to already be talking about the Packers win like it was a Super Bowl, and I get it. The Packers have just abused you for years. I think there's a letdown there from an emotion standpoint. I'm not saying they're going to be less likely to get up for it. I just think the Rams, the combination of the huge emotional win the Bears had, and the Rams almost losing to a team from the NFC South, call it what it is. I think the Rams are going to get up early and often. I honestly think this could be like Rams Jacksonville in London earlier this season, where it's just like 28. You blink and it's 28-0. I think the Rams are too good here. I think the Bears are a good story.
Yeah, I kind of like where you're coming from there. It is the playoffs though, so I'm just gonna be hopeful that it's not a blowout. But I mean, that's kind of all I had on the previews. I'm not sure if there's anything else you wanted to touch on.
No, I mean just to quickly run through. So I've got a double underdog, Bills going to the Texans in the AFC Championship game, and a rematch, the Rams going to Seattle for the NFC Championship game. I think you have Buffalo playing at New England, and then then same thing, same NFC Championship as me.
Nope, I have the
you have the 49ers winning?
Going to play.
That's right.
Yep, I do.
So you have the Rams hosting a playoff game against 49ers. And then I'm assuming your Super Bowl would be what? Rams-Patriots rematch? If that were to happen?
I got Patriots. I may call the 49ers. It's one of those things. I'd have to see how the games play out this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared. If you told me I had to make the pick right now, I'm going to pick the Rams. Patriots over the Rams for the Super Bowl. But that is not locked in. That is not 100% confidence there. Are we going to make our picks for the week, or what do we want to do?
Yeah, we'll get Charlie's picks. We'll shout them out somewhere, or we'll just talk about them next week. Next week's show, I will have the totals from the season caught up. I'll get that here later. I just didn't have time today. But yeah, let's go through our picks. I know who your dog is. My dog is the Texans money line. So a little civil war here for us. Who do you have for your best bet?
Fuck you. Give me Rams.
I'm also taking Rams as mine. -3.5. So we're enemies and we're friends. Just depends on the game. Totals this week are tough.
I'm going to take the over in the Rams-Bears.
Okay. Bless you. That's a good one. 48.5.
And I think yep.
God, I don't want to take an under, but man, I might take an under. Yeah. Yeah, give me the under in the Texans-Patriots game. It's not the last game of the season yet, so I'm fine with it. I just think we're going to get a sloppy defensive game. Honestly, a parlay that I don't hate is a Patriots and Texans anytime defensive touchdown.
That's crazy. Unless you throw special teams in there. Unless you throw special teams in for the Patriots. But, well, hey, boys, we'll put together a Nobody Asked parlay. We'll get that out on the Twitter once we converse with Charlie. We'll have that out by Friday at the latest. We'll give you a full day to put it out there.
I have my pick already. I have my pick already. If you have yours,
I gotta think. I gotta think on mine.
Well, I'm taking Devontae Adams anytime touchdown. So that'll be my pick.
Okay.
Yeah, he's due. Wait, I don't know if I want to lock in an under for the divisional round. Oh God, I just don't like any of these other ones. Yeah, fuck it. Give me the under. I hate myself.
I also can give you a preview of probably what my parlay pick is going to be, and that is a Drake May anytime touchdown score.
I like that. I like that.
I'm not decided on that. I'm not decided on that yet, though. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, hey, great show, Boone. Pleasure talking with you as always.
Yeah, man.
And we will reconnect next week. Enjoy your bachelor party weekend. Enjoy some football, and to the rest of you guys, enjoy your last few games of the year. Make the most of them.
Thanks, y'all.
Peace.